in my heart, where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. I see with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out, slowly feel all that's around you, all that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, when we unite. Oh, we unite. Yeah, yeah, when we unite. Yeah, yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
Yes, yes. Good afternoon. Take two. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, good day to you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for being here. Yeah, Facebook is now doing something crazy, but I'm going to see if I can resolve that. But anyway, I'm going to continue the show. I haven't changed the show. Yes, Quali's on Instagram. She's saying it's like Mercury's retrograding around here. Yes, it's I feel like I've jumped off that boat, that ship of Mercury retrograding. It does affect communication. I notice it, but I've sort of freed myself from the fear of Mercury retrograding. However, there has been some things that's happened this last few weeks, well, last few days, that it's just like, okay, well, first of all, it lets us know that Mercury is not the only reason energy is different. I want to say wonky, but it's different. And whatever is happening in the planet is happening as above, so below, as within, so without. And I think the most important thing, I don't think I know the most important thing is what we do with what is happening. Um, yeah, we're here. My guest is here. She has been able to get online now. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So anyway, as I was saying, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for tuning in to yourself first. And as you tune into yourself, you get to listen to a different frequency, a different vibration, a different time. And when you do that, when you take a moment to stop, to listen, to be still, you prepare your mind, your consciousness, your heart for transformation. So I invite you right now to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, reminding yourself that you are one with the one. That no matter what is going on, no matter what you're going through and growing through, life is always lifing. God is always God. The ancestors are always ancestoring. And all is well. All is well. I'm grateful that my guest has finally been able to get online. We are online. We are talking. We are communicating. And we trust the process. Hey, Vicky, listen from all the way from Texas. Yes, so much to say. So much is going on. Anyway, I am Ade, your transformational beingness artist. Welcome to another episode of Ade presents your being you. Ade presents being you podcast, the journey back to yourself. And we're going to take this moment to just stop, to pause. We've taken a deep breath and we're reminding ourselves that I am present, I am here, I am now. I am present, I am here, I am now. I am present, I am here, I am now. This is season 4, episode 26. Today's Tuesday, July 19. Yes, that's right. It didn't sound right in my head. 2022. And I want to invite you to like and share this conversation. We're having a conversation that's going to transform you. I have a guest. She's going to be sharing her story, her journey of, I'm going to mess with it a little bit, a journey of belonging, a journey of awakening, a journey of rebirthing, and a journey of coming back home to herself. My dear sister, nice to see you. Shoyinka is in the house. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're going to be talking about Ifa. And for those of you who don't know, you get to learn something new. We get to hear her story. And her story is not unique necessarily. It is uniquely her story. But as she shares her unique story, it will interconnect. I know it will interconnect with your story. Something in there, something about her story will activate something that helps you to remember. You may even you may be hearing a call to come back home, and you get to decide where home is. So, being You the podcast is an invitation for you to come back to yourself, to ask yourself deeper questions. And the deeper questions are usually simple questions. Deeper questions doesn't have to be like, oh my God, that's a deep question. Deep question, because a deep question can be just as simple as, who are you? What are you? What is important to you? I hope those of you who are listening, let me know if you can hear a somewhat buzzing sound. Actually, I should have asked that question differently, because now you start listening for a buzzing sound. I should have said, so I'm going to pretend now is now. If you hear some other sound behind me, let me know. It is smoking hot in UK, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So the question that I want to invite you to ask yourself, even if you're a regular listener, is a good moment today, this moment to now is a good moment to ask yourself, how do I see myself? Like in this moment, all that you're going through and growing through, how do you genuinely, honestly see yourself? and listen for the answer. How do you see the world? How are you looking at the world right now? Are you looking at the world with the same eyes, the same mindset, the same way you looked at it yesterday, the same way you looked at it last week? Is your focus more about what is wrong with the world or what is right with the world? Or maybe there's both. You see what's wrong and you see what's right. Or maybe you see everything is as it should be. And then there is more opportunity to step up and grow. Oh, Lord. So I have something else going on over here that feels like a tickle all the way on the inside. I'm not going to dig my finger in my nose, so you don't worry about that. However, it comes every now and then, and it's all the way on the inside, and it tickles, and it's somewhat not irritating, but gets my attention. And when I was talking to my beloved earlier, she said, "Oh, don't be doing that on the show because you're gonna look like you've been sniffing, smoking crack." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, I won't do it." But now it's like, oh boy, how do you see yourself? How do you see the world? How do you see yourself in the world? And how do you see the world in you? Those are questions we can ask ourselves on a daily basis. Sometimes we're often projecting, focusing on what's going on out there, and we forget about who we are, the power that we are, and also forgetting the power to project what is true about us, and remembering that we're powerful, and just by sitting still long enough, we can change what's going on outside. Oftentimes people are more interested in the drama. And I'll speak this because I've spoken it before. Let me see, how do I say this? If you go on Clubhouse, if you go on IG, Facebook Live, YouTube, sometimes, most times, the conversations that get a lot of attention are the conversations that are focused around gossip, what's going on in somebody else's life, what's wrong with the world. I get it because we like drama. And we all believe, we feel like we have an opinion and we want to say something. We need an outlet. And yes, all that is good because sometimes we have those conversations long enough and we realize, okay, I want to change the channel. What I know for sure is if we are to have a different experience, we need to tell a different story. We need to have a bigger vision, a different vision for humanity, for ourselves. And that's why, I do what I do. That's why all the work that I do is about that. And my guest as well, that's where she is. I'm going to tell you a little bit quickly about my upcoming event, the grief ritual that I'm doing this Saturday, July 23rd, 2022. It's at what time? 3 p.m. Eastern. It's 2 hours. So it finishes at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's a grief ritual representing our ancestors' grief ritual. An opportunity for us to heal. Everything that you're going to hear today, everything that I'm talking about, a space for us to lean into community, a space for us to allow some other energies and emotions that wants to come up that we didn't feel maybe confident enough to let out alone. But when we do it in community, the strength of another, this presence of another gives you the strength to trust your own story, to trust your own healing, to trust the energy that wants to be seen. And sometimes you may come into these circles, whether it's in person or vertical, that too, virtual, virtual, you find out there's another story that wants to be told just by listening to another. So, as I get ready to bring on my guest, I want to invite you to register for the grief ritual, which is the link is bit.ly/ancestral healing 1. bit.ly/ancestral healing 1. That's the number 1. Share it with people you know can use it. Share it with people you're not sure if they can use it. Share it because you can, and share the show. I think I'm ready to bring on my host. We're going to have a shorter show today because that's just the way it is. See what we can squeeze in. So my guest, today's theme is Ifa Called Me Home. Ifa it's really a way of being for Nigerian people. Um, it's our tradition, it's our culture, it's our spirituality. Some people call it a religion, but it's a way of being, recognizing that there is only one creator, and there are many ways that we can connect with the creator, and the creator is always talking with us. So our guest today is going to be sharing her story and share all that comes with the story. So let me read a little bit about her. Dr. Dánesha Osunkemi Anderson is the CEO of Empowered Integrative Medicine LLC and specializes as a radical self-care coach and consultant. Her transformational program teaches women how to recharge through radical self-care and shift from the stress-related exhaustion and burnout to an elevated quality of life. She's on a mission to liberate and empower women, especially women of color, to practice radical self-care. Her intention is to serve, heal, and improve the quality of life for others through her programs, coaching, workshops, events, and retreats. She is very fulfilled in her role of assisting women in the healing process, development, and transformation. I know she is fulfilled. I know. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, psychics and skeptics, because we need all of those too, physical beings and non physical beings, help me welcome my sister, my friend, myself, Dr. Osunkemi.
Lakia,
Woo!
Lakia, thank you so much for
You
having
are
me.
welcome.
I'm
We made
excited to
it.
be here. Yay, we
We
did!
made it.
Shay.
We made it.
Oh, yes.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm just excited to share and see, whoever this can inspire and resonate with. So, yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, well, let's
Mhm.
jump in. I've read a little bit about you, and yes, and I want to hear about you through your lens, through your frequency, through your soul signature. And what I want to ask is you've been on a journey of several names.
Yes, I have.
So what we're sticking to right now is Danisha Oshunkemi Anderson, but you're really in a process of transition. And correct me if I'm wrong, transitioning to Oshunkemi. And you had another name, but I don't know. But what I want to ask you is, I actually want to ask you, what does Danisha mean, Oshunkemi? And if you want to talk about Anderson too, what does your name mean to you?
Hmm. Well, I would say, well, I'll tell you the history of my first birth given name, Danesha. So my mom was created. My dad's name is Dana, and they ended up deciding to name me after him in a certain way. My
Mm.
dad wanted a boy, a son, and so
Yeah,
girl. So
I want a
Dana,
son and they
Danesha.
go to girl, and it's like,
So
okay.
so Dana, Danesha. That's how that came about, and then yeah, my last name is just, as far as I know, when I did a little research into it, that's just from the slave, colonization type of thing. So that's where we're at with that. Osunkemi is the name I received for my Oshun initiation, or sorry, Ifa initiation. But
Mm.
I also received another Oshun name, and the priestess was telling me that Osunkemi and that name is very similar meaning. And so for me, I wanted to represent my Ifa and Oshun initiation by using Oshun Kemi.
Interesting. Say more
Yeah,
about that when you talk about your Oshun initiation and Ifa, because don't they go hand in hand?
they're two separate initiations.
Okay, so
Yeah,
your Ifa initiation was different from your Oshun
yeah, because
initiation.
Oshun is just specifically receiving the Orisha.
Okay, so it's with that
Oshun,
Orisha. Okay, tell us about
yes,
that. Not well, not I mean, whatever you
yeah,
need to
yeah.
share. I'm not
I can share
what
anything.
happened. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
It's not. If anybody needs to know what happened, then you need to go on a journey.
You need exactly. You have to get initiated to find out. Oh my gosh! So you want to know like the journey getting to the
Yeah,
Oshun
because
initiation?
this is well this is the first time that I've actually heard what you said, where the conversation about the Oshun initiation is different from the Ifa initiation.
Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah, because Ifa is it's a 3-day ceremony typically, and
Okay.
Oshun is 7 days. So it's a lot deeper when you're getting initiated to Orisha. It's a lot deeper process, longer and more involved.
Mm.
hmm
So basically, it's this whole thing about, Oshun, it's that energy, that feminine energy, the honey, the juiciness. You can't
Yeah.
get it done in 2 days. You need
You
to
know, that's a
sit.
good point. You're right. You're right.
You need to sit with this.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
don't
just
do it.
jump
I
out
said
there and
it.
start kind of like you can't. You got to do the work.
That's right. That's right.
So let's go back. How did all of this come about? How did you get on this journey?
Yes. Oh, that's a wonderful question. I would say the starting point was I had a spiritual awakening back in
Hmm.
2012. And I just was on this journey of like, okay, I've been taught, I grew up Baptist Christian, like, but it wasn't resonating with me any longer. And I'm like, all right, I need to like rebuild my, foundation basically. And for a year, I was in this period of like, just like unknowing it felt like the carpet had been pulled from underneath me, and it was like, just I don't know if anyone's experienced that on their journey, but it's just like you're in limbo, and it's like, what the heck, like I don't even know what I believe anymore, and just it can be a little unsettling. But I trusted, and I just prayed, and I was like, all right, spirit, I just want to know the truth. That's all I asked for, that simple thing, show me the truth. And I equate it to most people have probably seen the Matrix, the red pill and the blue pill, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna take that pill because I want to I want to know the truth.
So let me ask you this. Let me
Yes,
jump in there. Before you
yes.
decided, before you were thinking which pill you're going to take,
Uh-huh.
when the carpet was pulled from
Yeah.
underneath you, and you recognize you need some kind of pill, what was
Ooh.
that experience like? Let's talk about that for a minute. What was
Oh,
happening? What was that like? How did you even
yeah,
find your way to get to a point to say, I
yeah.
think I need the right pill?
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. There was a lot of confusion. The things that I learned about the Bible, like I was questioning everything. And I mean, I did read like the Old Testament and New Testament, and in my own understanding right before that period happened, I um I was like, hold on, it said this in the New Testament, but in the Old Testament, it said the opposite. It's contradicting. And then I realized, oh wait, King James version or of the Bible, like that's somebody's version, like that's not even authentically like maybe the truth, or so I just started questioning a lot, like everything that I believe, what I was taught. Um and so then that brought me to a point like, okay, but now I feel like I know nothing.
A very
Very
good place
humbling.
to be.
Very humbling, okay?
Yes.
And then I was like, okay, but I know I want a foundation. I want something stable. I want something strong to I guess in a sense believe in, I knew at the end of the day, I knew there was something higher than me. I knew there was a creator. I knew there was a God.
Mhm.
I just didn't align with the stories and the things that I had been taught in terms of religion growing up at that point. Yeah. So then that brought me to, all right, well, like I'm an Aries, like so I'm like, we're gonna figure this out, okay? Let me
Yes.
just take I'm taking the pill. We're gonna know.
Just give it to me.
Yeah,
Just give it to me.
yes, yes. So it was a mission for me, and then I ended up exploring. I got into reggae, the consciousness of, well, the roots reggae, I should say. The consciousness of, Bob Marley's music was teaching me so much. And I'm getting chills right now thinking about that moment, because it's like I was hearing things in the songs, like it was almost like a secret code I was starting to understand about just
Mm.
life and the universe and universal and spiritual principles. And so I explored Rastafarianism a little bit. I started my Chinese medicine acupuncture school journey, and within that, that
Around, is that
Buddhism,
after the
the
carpet been
awakening.
pulled underneath you? That's when you
Yeah, that
started
was
your Chinese.
after. That was
Okay.
after the carpet was pulled. I
Mm.
decided to study Chinese medicine, had a life changing experience, went out to California to study, and in that my second semester in school, that's when I had the awakening. And so San Diego's an amazing place. It's so diverse in terms of just things that you can do. And so I was able to, tap into these different communities and explore that way. And I even studied, I think it's called like Coptic Christianity, which is essentially the Christianity like based in Africa, like before the colonizers had,
Right?
tampered with it or
Mhm.
shifted things. So it was just really cool. I even tapped in like, okay, what's Hinduism? I just really wanted to explore and find what felt good to me. And
You were really on a quest to make
yes,
sense of this thing called life. Okay.
yes, yes.
Mm.
And spirituality and myself. And the biggest thing, and I like the title that you came up with, Ifa Called Me Home, because for me, home was coming back to myself.
Yes.
Self-discovery, like just knowing what I liked, like, and what my preferences were without the influence of the media or religion or, my parents or something, just all of that. Just like, who am I? What do I like? And so I just found myself trying new things and just really getting to know myself and doing a lot of healing work and things
I
like
want to
that.
jump in. I might do that. I probably will do
Yeah,
because
that's
I
fine.
want to kind of ask crucial questions because the most of my listeners, I know they've gone through that journey, and
Mm,
and I don't even think that sometimes we go through that journey and then we're like, oh, we're there. There's still moments. I feel we're spiraling up. And
yes.
so as we spiral up, we come to this place like, who am I? Who am I? Okay, we start to figure out who we are. And then when we spiral up and come back here, it's like, I don't know if I believe in everything. And so there's that sort of thing where we tell our own story and people might be there in that moment could make sense because just by hearing your story, something clicks in. So
Yeah.
what I wanted to ask it, when you were going through this process of
Mhm.
rediscovery, renewing, of rebirthing,
Yes.
what was it like? What was your relationship like with your family members, with your parents? Did they think you were losing your mind? Were they supportive? Were they saying you just need to read more of the Bible or you just need to give your life over to Jesus or what?
So I actually didn't share a lot with them,
Mm,
not till later, because I was still on the point of trying to make sense of what was happening to me. I started realizing like I'm really empathic, like I had these intuitive gifts, and it's like this whole new world opened up to me, and I was just trying to like name and understand what was I experiencing. So I couldn't even begin to really articulate for a long time. And really, I would say my my friends in school, really, they were teaching me. They were giving me books and telling me resources. So they came like soul family, like soul tribe type of um,
mm,
people for me.
yeah.
Um, my mind was just going so fast. I was going to tell you something else.
Well, actually, it also made me think that whole thing about when the student is ready, the teacher would
Yes,
appear. So your
yes,
friends were somewhat like a teacher. The
they
books that you were
absolutely.
encountering, they were supporting you and learning what you
Yes,
needed to learn. And I
yes.
often say, even with when the student is ready, the teacher would appear. And at the same time, when the teacher is ready, the student would appear.
That's true.
And we are both, too. On another level, we're both.
That's right.
You are the one seeking the wisdom, and because you said yes, you became a teacher unto yourself.
Gosh,
But
yeah.
so there's this separation and there's this collective,
Mhm.
and when they come together, rebirthing happens, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like my family, though, just to go back and finish up that question, I remember what I was gonna say. My dad, we were like estranged for a long time, so that really wasn't any any concern there.
So that made it easy for you. It's like, oh, I'm
Right.
glad.
Yeah, it's like, okay, he's not worried about it.
It used to be a
Um,
problem, but in this case, it's a
right,
blessing.
right, right. And my mom, she wasn't like super strict. It's just I realized there were certain conversations that I could have and couldn't have with certain people. And I will
Mhm.
say my sister, rest in peace, I love her so much. She was the one family member that I started to share things with. And I would say out of everyone, she knows me the most. She knew, my journey. And it was beautiful because by like you said, sharing our story, me sharing what was happening to me, I feel like it's and I'm getting chilled. It sparked a almost not a necessarily awakening, but it sparked something in her, and then she was able to tap into her intuitive gifts and trust her psychic gifts more, it's cool to see her evolve and stuff. And then I became like this support and teacher, on her spiritual journey. So
Was she
that was
older than you or
she
younger?
was younger. So we're like they say Irish twins, 15 months apart. So
Mm.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
what's her name? Not what was her name. What's her
Yeah,
name?
because she's still with me. Yeah, Stephanie.
Yes,
Stephanie Marie Anderson.
Stephanie
Yes.
Marie Anderson. Yes, we
Ashe.
call on you and thank you for the role you're
Yes.
playing for this conversation.
Ashe, she is definitely here
Yeah,
and with me. Yes.
yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you went to San Diego. That's where
Mhm.
your fellow students were supporting you.
Yes, yes, yes. And I met amazing people, amazing teachers. I met someone at a spiritual event in Orange County, and she was in I forget what it was, but it was like something. She ended up inviting me. She said, "You want to come to this event? It's a Women's and Ifa conference."
Hmm.
And right before, a few years before that, one of my friends from college had mentioned, Nicole. She had mentioned something I found. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." Like African spirituality. So on my journey, I was exploring all these different traditions, but I was like, "But what is my people like? What is my? Like I want to know." And so I had found out from after my grandfather, my paternal grandfather, my poppy, he had passed away. My father took us to this gravesite cemetery where most of our family members are buried, and he was telling me that my great great grandfather, that he owned it and that he was actually from Nigeria. And so that really sparked a lot for me because I'm like, okay, finally, like my great aunt showed me like the, ancestor certificate
Yeah.
thing of when you do the DNA testing. I was like, oh my God, finally, I've been praying for this for years. Like, where am I from? Who, what's my culture? Finally got that answer. And so that took me down a whole rabbit hole of, okay, what's the spirituality? Da 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 da. And so it's like connecting the dots, like following that
Yes.
thread, the breadcrumbs, whatever you want to call it. And so these things were just being placed, and I was just saying yes, and diving deeper. And so fast forward back to the event, she tells me, "Oh, there's this conference," and I'm just like, yes, because at this point I had been praying for women, for teachers. I'm like, where are the elders, out there to teach me? Like, I want to know, and I need guidance. I've been trying to figure it out on my own. I need support, That answered my prayer. I go to this Ifa conference. I felt so at home. I was like at one point crying, just like it was. I call it my spirit confirmation chills. And then
Confirmation. I
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Mm.
And so I go, and I'm like, oh my God, this is what I've been searching. Like my soul was nourished, you know.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, this is it. Let's just, see where this goes. Let's see how this
Yes.
unfolds. So that's pretty much how Ifa called me home. And the whole while, I know that it was my ancestors just, pulling me, connecting me to the people, to like the book, to like I was saying, just everything. And just
Mm.
really like you have to be quiet enough to trust, to listen, to hear first. And then to
Yes.
just trust what you're hearing, trust what you're feeling, trust what you're sensing.
Yes.
And the more you trust your intuition, the stronger it gets. It's a
It
very subtle thing. Like in the beginning, it was hard. We got to clear out that noise, like in the
is.
distractions.
Mhm.
And so that took me a while. But then when I was like, oh, okay, like you're the voice that's been speaking to me my whole life. Like, okay, let me do an experiment. Like, let me see if I keep listening to you, what happens? My life only got better. When I
Mm.
didn't listen to it, then there was challenges, there were obstacles. I would forget something. I would hurt my, stub my toe, just like, so it's like, okay, let me just stay in alignment, you know? Yeah.
Yes. I think
Hmm.
there's something with the process of initiation, rebirth. I mean, we say rebirth, the process of dying. Because we skip the process and go to rebirth. Because rebirth sounds good. I'm made new. But before you are
Mm.
made new, there's a
Oof.
dying that needs to happen. We
Absolutely.
talk about it, the caterpillar and the butterfly. But oftentimes we don't talk about the most crucial part of it, the in between the caterpillar before it becomes a butterfly. There's a stage where it becomes goo. it dissolves completely. It dies to itself. When we're in that goo stage, metaphorically, we don't like it. We
Mm-mm.
fight it
Yes.
because we don't know what's happening. We
Uh-huh.
don't know what's going. We don't even know if we're going crazy. Something is wrong. The
Right.
Western world will tell you, "Oh yeah, maybe you need to be on some medications. There's something wrong." But we are from people who knew that even mental health issues is a spiritual experience for the most part.
Yes.
We just need people who are going to listen long enough, who knows what they're doing. The elders, the shamans, the
Yes.
babalawo, who can listen to what you're being told. Oftentimes in the Western world, you're just given medication, which really just sometimes can cause more problem than anything else. So I think
Mm-hmm.
the dying process is also the ability, the courage to trust and not know.
Into
Like,
surrender.
what is
Yes.
going on? Yes.
Exactly. That is
Surrender.
exact. And I just want to comment. Literally, when you were telling the listeners, "Oh, who are you?" And those questions. That's literally the vision I had of myself. I was like, I'm in that goose stage right now. Like I'm in the cocoon. I
Yes.
am redefining, like, there's been levels to this layer. As the layers peel back, it's a process of continuing to redefine yourself.
Yes. It's
So
an
it's like,
ongoing journey.
right, it's not like, oh, I figured it out. Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and hopefully you just continue to get clearer and clearer on that,
You said
and
hopefully what?
you get clearer and clearer on
Yes.
that, more connected
Yes.
to yourself. Yeah.
And it's funny because I just when you said that something happened for me, and I think on this journey, I mean, I think intention is important,
Mhm.
and in a serious joking way, if you don't get clearer, life's got your back. Because if you're a caterpillar and you've gone into that goo stage and you're trying to, oh, I want to get out of here, I just want to be a butterfly. Well, you may be able to speed up the process. The minute you start flying, a bird comes and chew your ass up.
Silly. Like, try again, restart.
It's like, oh man, I should have surrendered to the diet. I should have surrendered to the things that I'm afraid of, the things
Yeah.
that I don't want to confront about myself. And I think,
Yeah.
on a spiritual journey, personal development, and when the mind is colonized, we run from the aspects of life that feels uncomfortable. We're
Mhm.
willing to, we quickly either get defensive, project, as opposed to just be quiet
Right.
and listen.
Yeah. And
And
slowing
on
down.
slowing
That
down.
part. Yes.
And I want to come to you about that. I want to come to you about surrender, which is the same thing, because part of surrendering is slowing down. Speak on
Mhm.
surrender and slowing down and how it supported you in getting to where
Yes.
you are today.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, like I mentioned earlier, I'm an Aries, so I like to move.
Yes.
And I'm used to living life, or I should say, I was more used to living life at a much faster pace. And so it has been a challenging lesson for me. And to be honest, I thought I had kind of learned it, earlier in my journey, my spiritual journey.
Hmm.
And I'm being taught after my initiations, I'm being taught a whole new level of surrender. Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm just like, wow, it's like I can't even try to live life fast if I wanted to. Just the way things are unfolding, how my day's unfolding. Like, we were just speaking the other day, and I was just like, I literally don't even feel like right now I can barely plan the next day. Like, spirit is really calling me to live so in the present moment and just, okay, showing up. What do I need to do in this moment? Like, for this day, like, that's as far as I can go, but I've been used to planning out my whole year and my quarter and, the month. And even like every week I'll do I usually do like a reevaluation and plan out my week. And it has been, like I said, a challenge, but it's actually a beautiful gift too, because I feel like I'm coming into an alignment. My family jokes and calls me turtle my entire life because I move slow.
Really
Yes, I
interesting.
I move slow, and I feel like I'm actually coming more back to myself and just, and really finding my own rhythm of life and really just accepting that, like
Mm,
this is how I move, and let me just navigate and prepare according
mhm.
to that. And there are times you do need to adjust a little bit, obviously depending on circumstances, but my
Yes.
homeostasis is more on that level. And so some of the work that I do now with the radical self-care, it's like that my work is like sharing that process, sharing like certain techniques, that have helped support me, and in rejuvenating myself, because when I was going through school, I burned out twice getting through the
Mm,
program. And that is a horrible feeling, like to feel so exhausted you can't even show up for yourself, for your
mm,
relationships, for your loved ones, for the work that you want to do. And it's like, man, but you got to keep going. We have life, there's bills to pay. People have, if you have kids, people need, to live life and handle their responsibilities. So how do you push through that? And how do you
mm.
find that time to slow down and nurture yourself? So that's what my my journey has been, teaching me to
So there's
do
so
the
many
opposite.
questions about that. Finding
Yes.
time to slow down,
Yes.
burn out, turtle. So Aries,
Okay.
let's go back. Let's go
Yes.
back. I know you threw that
Okay.
out there.
Okay.
I have a interesting connection to turtle. So
Do
I
you?
just want to.
Okay. Okay.
So as an Aries, I don't
Mhm.
know if it's true for all Aries, but this is something that I think up until this moment, I really believe that Aries move fast. They're always on the
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
But when you said that, it made me think, well, yes, I move fast, but there's a part of me that likes to kind of move slow on some things. Like, yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So how did it come how did you get the nickname Turtle?
Oh my God. Just my mom, my parents, and my
Mhm.
sister, they would just tease me, just like everyone else would be getting ready, and I don't know. I'm thinking I'm moving at the regular pace of
You think
everybody
you're ahead
else.
of them.
I think, and it's just, just getting dressed or just eat.
Mhm.
I eat so slow. Like most people are like finish their meal and I'm barely halfway done. Like, it's just getting my things together. It's just apparently I'm just slower than the average.
You're just taking your time and being in the moment because
But
I got work to do. Radical self care.
yeah, listen, but you know what I found is like when I would try to rush and be on other people's expectations and timelines, it created this not necessarily chaos, but it was like I would forget stuff. I would like run into stuff and like I'm rushing around and bumping into stuff, and it just made me
That sounds
anxious.
like chaos.
Yeah, okay. So right. Thank you. Cuz I'm like, yeah, I would get anxious and just, and I was like, once I realized what was happening, I was like, I don't want to live in that energy. Like that doesn't feel good. I want to be in peace, as I'm navigating life. And, I want to feel grounded and move in a way like that. So I was like, for me, that's how I have to do it to move slow.
And that's the thing, finding our own rhythm. That's
Yes.
what, when we find our own rhythm, it's the best place to be. Through
Ashe.
our own rhythm and our own connection with the divine.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's ultimately what is going to help us navigate this thing called life.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has ideas and solutions and techniques and tools and technologies, but just because it worked for me doesn't mean it can work for my client. And I'm always telling people that I'm sharing this with you, but let it inspire what wants to come up for you. It may be the same thing, but it's important to recognize that we have our own vibration, and we need to find our tune so that we can move at a pace that honors our spirit, that honor our spirit and soul. And I want to draw a connection here between being called, given a nickname Turtle,
Mm-hmm.
and you said before your initiation, you realized that you need to surrender and slow down. And then after your initiation, there was a sort of different kind of surrender.
Yeah.
What was surrender like for you before your initiation? And how did it
Mm.
actually change after your initiation? And did being a natural, for lack of a better word, slow, or moving at your, according to your own rhythm, how does that help you with the process of surrendering? I know there's a lot
Ooh,
of questions
I
there.
know. Oh, you might have to. I might have to. You have to remind me some of that. Like 5 part question now.
So I'll put it. I know, right?
Okay.
5 part question. That's me. That is me. Ooh. Okay. So, what was surrender like for you before your
Okay.
initiation? What
Okay.
was it like after initiation?
Yes.
And the fact that you're naturally somebody who moves according to your own rhythm, which
Mhm.
caused your family to call you a turtle. How
Mhm.
do they all tie in together?
Okay. Well, I would say surrender for me was more. I'm trying to find the right word. I don't want to say like superficial level, but it was just like, okay, I'm surrendering, like, and following my intuition. That was a big part. Before initiation, I was really with a lot of the womb healing and womb work that I was doing. That really helped me hone in on that.
Talk
Um,
about okay before you go, because some people may not know what that means. Womb healing. Sorry, Atlanta. Atlanta. I'm not in Atlanta. I'm in Leicester. Leicester is super hot. We had 102 earlier, and I am sweating over here. So
okay,
excuse me
no
while I.
problem, no
So,
problem.
so talk about what is womb healing that you did. Just some people may not know what that is.
Yes. So people have their own definitions, obviously, but I did just womb healing ceremonies that involve connecting to nature. I don't know if anyone's familiar with like yoni steaming, using certain herbs to balance the womb and heal the womb. Um, for me, it's really because women have the uterus, right? So that's the physical representation of it. But womb healing for me is bringing in the spiritual and the energetic components of that. So other people, you can think of like the sacral chakra region in that sense. Um, and so, yeah, I did a lot of deep, deep work. Actually, oh my God, okay, you're going to take me back to a story
Okay.
to the, this is actually pretty powerful. The Women's Ifa conference. So there was a priestess that had come to me afterwards, and she was like, tell me she had this. She's a very amazing medium. And she's like, I'm seeing this vision of you. She's describing like this setting. And I'm like, oh goodness, like I do remember that when I was really young. So that night I go to sleep, I have this dream. I'm like the observer. I'm like watching an incident happen. And essentially I was having this memory of I was molested when I was younger, around 5 years old. And so I'm having like remembering and kind of like almost reliving it, but I'm observing. I'm like, oh my God, like, oh shoot, that did happen. Like your mind will, black out things so
Hmm.
you can't remember. And or not, it was not that you can't, but it's like protecting you from the
Yes,
trauma,
exactly.
And so from ever since I could remember in my childhood up until even my 20s, until this experience happened or this conference happened, I was I didn't realize I would think I was having panic attacks and like I was having nightmares. And I remember, but it wasn't of that scene or anything. It was more just like my throat chakra. Like I would try to scream in my dream and no one could hear me.
Mm.
And I'm getting chills just remembering that.
Mm.
And I wake up and I actually, to be honest, I thought that was normal. I thought everybody like experienced that when they dreamt or went to sleep, and then I was like, oh
Where
my
they were
god.
trying to talk and can't nobody can hear them.
Well,
Is it
yeah,
that
and
that
just wake up, just having that. I thought that was like, okay, that's just part of dreaming. But
mm,
connecting it back, there's this really deep connection between the womb from my healing work that I've the womb and the throat chakra. It's like very connected in the expression and like so it just became this whole powerful thing, which like we were talking about earlier, just like you become the teacher, like you're seeking, you're studying, you're trying to heal, and then you're able to kind of teach and share. And so that ended up igniting like my first business that I started, Womb Connection 101, which is now Sacred Medicine. But that whole journey is a whole thing. Yeah,
mm.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's deep. It's deep.
It's amazing some of the things that we experience on a daily basis.
Hmm.
That is part of our, we say spiritual, and I think sometimes when we qualify frame it under spiritual experience, it could have us think of it as something unique. But a dream is not something unique. There's so, there are people who are professional dream interpreters. However, the dream takes us into places in our minds as unconscious, so we can see
Yes.
what wants to be seen, hear what wants to be heard. Even a nightmare is trying to communicate with us. So to
Exactly.
have that dream where you were observing, it's almost like some people, when people are on ayahuasca, there are
Hmm.
different things that people will have an experience, and they're watching themselves go through an experience. So as I listen to you, it's like, wow, that's the elder that woke that up in you,
Yeah.
for you to now look at that experience from a different perspective itself brings about healing, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm
Mm,
so grateful, like that was in the Ifa setting, like for that to come through for me to, I guess it was like time for me to start working on that in my journey,
yeah. Mm.
So yeah, it
So
was
now surrender for you, is it easier, or are you
well.
quick to surrender?
uh, I'm having a I was having a little challenge. I will say, so I think I showed you like the murder of my sister, April 2021. That really, like, life, spirit, creator, universe, that forced me to surrender so much, because I was like, I don't even know what's happening anymore. Um, and I feel like, I would say a little bit. I made a little bit of progress, but I feel like I got some ways to go, because I
Yeah.
do see myself resisting in certain ways, and it's kind of frustrating because like you see it and you know it, but it's like, come on, self, get it together. Like, come on, you already know, you had this lesson before. Like, come on,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
But I think in that sense, it is a little easier because now I can, I can articulate, I can see it, I understand what's happening. I have the awareness of myself and how I'm experiencing and how I'm showing up, and like, okay, like I really just need to let go. Like, let me do my affirmations. Let me listen to my frequencies, to just really,
Mm.
support myself in this.
Right.
But I will say I really was struggling early this year in the surrendering piece. But I feel like this week, literally this week, I feel I'm better. I'm actually a little bit better,
Mm.
to be
Mm.
honest. Yeah.
Is that because
Interesting.
you've come out of the goo, you're in the butterfly stage, or you're in the goo feeling better?
I know, right? I'm peeking my head out. I'm peeking my head out.
Right, right. It's like,
I'm
I'm
halfway in. I'm
remembering
halfway
the
out.
story that I'm going to be a butterfly, so maybe it's not so bad. I don't have wings yet.
They're coming. They're coming. um, yeah, I feel like I'm really just trusting. I'm really trusting spirit. There's been like I've been working on like my money thing for years. There's so much around money,
Yes.
and our beliefs, and then bringing like the spirituality aspect into it, and
Mhm.
I've been working on it for so long, and I get frustrated sometimes, 'cause like, well, I did all this work, how come this isn't reflecting like how I'm imagining or thinking that it should at this point, at this time. And my biggest lesson was that I was having this expectation, um to be provided for, but like from my partners, or even like say from a job, like, but at
Mm.
the root is spirit, the creator, the universe is your provider. Like, you
Yes.
got that job because the creator, like, so
Mm.
me really focusing back to the root and real true, source. That's what I've been doing more this year, and this literally the past 2 weeks, I'm like, okay, I get it. And it's like, all right, just I see this vision. I feel like Oshun just shows it's been showing me, like I'm floating on my back and I'm just being carried down the river, and it's like, okay, that's full surrender. And I keep in those moments when I'm challenged, I just keep, reimagining and seeing that, and just, okay, you're
Going back to the
supported.
water.
Yes, you're supported. This is all divine. So yeah, it's getting a little easier. I got to get myself out the way. That's what it is. We got to get ourselves out the
That's
way.
it.
That is
Get
it.
self. That is it. Getting the ego out of the way, because
Yes.
really it's dying alive. Surrender, it's surrendering to dying alive, giving up the control. And
That
everything
part.
and this physical experience is about, I gotta be in control. I gotta be in control. My mentor always says, just because things are out of control, no, just because you're not in control doesn't mean things are out of control.
Oof, that's good.
It's a powerful thing when we really think about, okay, I'm not in control, but that doesn't mean things are out of control. But the mind, if we're just living from the neck up, then it creates all these stories. However, there are tools, there are things we can do to bring us back to the truth, to bring us back. And speaking of bringing us back, I want to come back to, a bit, let's go a little bit deeper. We've sort of laid a foundation of what got you to Ifa, and there's several things that I want, because I want to go back to that initiation too, the two different ones. But there's something coming up for me around that. Hmm. You knew about Ifa before you went to the first gathering, right?
I did, yeah.
You just heard about it.
Yeah, I heard about it, yeah.
Okay. I remember, of course, I met you. You and I connected when you were going to Nigeria on a one-way ticket. And
Yes.
I was like, how do you even do that?
Just do it.
So, what was it about? I mean, you share some story, but it's like, give us an opportunity to go inside of you as if we're listening to a documentary that's inside of you. We're going inside of you to hear story. What was it about Ifa, and knowing the fact that just being able to trust this is the path for you to go to a country you've never been to before, and a one-way ticket, and an American. Okay, let's not downplay that, because America tells people, oh, everywhere else is dangerous. It doesn't, nowhere else really exists because we are the one. So all of that, how did you navigate that journey and be able to trust yourself enough, trust the divine, trust God to say, I'm going?
Yes. Well, at this point, I was probably around Ifa for about 6 or 7 years, and just exploring different communities and different styles and teachings and things like that. And so I knew I needed to get there one day. I just didn't know when that day was going to happen. And to be honest, I actually had traveled to Senegal, I think it was in 2013 or 14, by myself. Same thing, one-way ticket. So for me, it's not a big deal. Like, if I want to go somewhere, I'm going to go. Either people are with me or they're not, but I'm going to do what I feel I need to do and definitely follow my inner guidance and intuition. So for me, all of that wasn't a big deal. Like, and my dad was in the military, so growing up, I'm used to traveling. I'm used to, moving around, and I don't know, it doesn't faze me too much. And also I feel like I also don't watch a lot of TV. I don't even have cable. I haven't had it in like 11 years. I don't listen to the radio, I really, for me, it's a protective type of thing, because I really wanted to know myself and not be influenced from all these other external things. And then I choose on my own accord what I want to tune into and when I want to do it. I don't want to be bombarded with all this stuff on a daily basis. And so I think that helps me to be very clear and like think for myself, have my own thoughts and own perspectives that aren't necessarily so influenced by others. But I would say getting to Nigeria was very interesting. It definitely had its challenges, like trying to get the visa and like the flight situation. That took a couple months to get into place, and there were some delays with that. And you just have to keep fighting. Like, if you really believe like you're supposed to do something, and deep down without a doubt, like, listen, let's make it happen. But I would say the real push for me to get to Nigeria this year was after my sister was murdered. I did a ceremony with one of my elders and amazing teachers. And in the ceremony, my great grandmother came through. and I was basically like channeling messages. My sister came through, my great grandmother Gray, Oshun came through, the great mothers. And so my great grandmother was like, she needs to get initiated. She needs to go to Africa. Like, it was just like this urgency. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. Like, I'm listening. Like, and she was like, it's gonna save your life. It's gonna save her life. And I'm like, okay. I mean, there's no more to say. I know I needed to go. I've been wanting to get initiated for some years. I preferably wanted to do it in Nigeria, especially knowing that I had that lineage and connection. And so it just, everything kind of lined up. And it's like, okay, the time is now. Like, let's go. So
Mm.
that's how I got there.
Once you make up your mind,
Yep. And no
there.
changing it. And my family, oh my God, I would think they would know me by now. Like, they gave me so much. Like, my sister was crying on the phone, like, I don't want you to go.
And your sister was crying?
This was when I went to Senegal, my
Okay.
first trip to Africa. You know, my mom, my grandfather, they're all having this fear-based stuff. And I'm just like, look, if y'all don't have anything positive or like blessings to say, then I don't want to hear it, because I knew I was in this delicate time. And I feel like I'm a pretty good manifester, or womb-manifester sometimes, as I call it. And so when I'm in that space, that delicate space, I only can have, the right aligned people and vibrations and words to create and manifest this. So if you're not on that vibration, then I'm sorry, I can't.
Leave the room, right?
Actually, I'm sorry, not sorry, but I can't be dealing with you at that specific time. Yeah. And so they gave me a little bit, but not as much, because they're like, okay, she does this.
Yeah.
Something new.
Yeah. And it's understandable. I mean, as you said, we are all experiencing this world through our own stories. And the importance, what you said earlier, the importance of really protecting our minds, our hearts, and giving, just saying, listen, my mind matters. I'm going to mind my mind. My heart matters. So I'm going to make sure I am aware what I'm feeding it. Family members, of course, just by default, because you're doing something that is considered unknown, unusual, you're going to be afraid. And then who knows? There might be stories of other places that, when we don't know something, we make up a story. And when we make up the story, we don't always make up a great story anyway. When we don't know, and we become afraid, and we make up stories that support us to say, yes, we need to be very careful, because we keep hearing that. Be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. Now, there's so many places I want to go with you. And, And I want to ask this. I know you talked about it in a way where it's, I want to say matter of fact, but maybe you've gone through your healing process. You talked about your sister being murdered, and you said, "Oh, my sister got murdered. Like, she got her head on." I'm sure that was a traumatic experience.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How did that experience affect you, influence you to get you to where you are today? I mean, because whatever you want to share, I'll leave it in general and allow you to share whatever you feel sharing.
Thank you. It's, for me, it's still pretty fresh. It's barely
How long ago
over
was
a year. April 2021.
Oh, so that's recent.
That's it's still, to be honest, a lot of last year, I feel like I've been in a daze in life, and I'm just being able to kind of come back and find a new rhythm. And I feel like, again, it was that moment that I described earlier of having the carpet pulled from underneath me. I feel like it happened, but on like an even deeper level. Like, so I'm still processing a lot. I'm processing a lot,
If you told me you weren't, I wouldn't believe you anyway. I'd be like,
right, right.
I mean, 2020 was the pandemic. 2021, your sister was murdered.
And I just, that same month, earlier in the month, I had just finished my doctorate, which took me about 10 years to complete, and then that happened right after. So I'm in this place, I just finished. I'm like so exhausted, like my friends that have already graduated in practice, they're like, it takes about 3-4 years to recover just from acupuncture school, So I'm just like barely feel like I've got through, and then that happened. So it was a lot. It's intense for sure. Yeah.
I'm naturally curious,
Mhm.
so I can take one experience and get so much out of it,
Mhm.
and like so the things that you've shared just left me with so much questions. But because of time,
Yeah.
we've talked the theme, the conversation is how if I called you home. So
Mhm.
we're gonna fast forward
Yeah.
and probably maybe share some stories that were before that. Let's talk about this initiation because I was coming to it, but Kwali in the chat room is like, so what happened in initiation process? If you can expand, she wants to know too. It's like, don't leave us hanging. So you went to Nigeria on a one-way ticket
Yes.
for your initiation. You knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
You just said, I got to get there. I got to do it. What was
Yeah.
that experience like for you? Getting there before the initiation, during, and after. And you did 2 initiations too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you said
did.
you did the Fatra initiation
Mhm.
and the Oshun. Okay,
Mhm.
so tell us about that journey.
Okay. So, well, it's very challenging getting to Nigeria.
Mhm.
Um, Complete different experience from when I went to Senegal. It was very smooth, very easy. But I also have to remember, like, I was traveling in the middle of a pandemic, so that adds a whole different, layers to this. Even just energetically moving in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I had, like I'm saying, I had delays with my visa, and that's when we had connected because my original itinerary was to come through, there, and
Mhm.
then ended up they were backed up, and I had to change my entire flight plans and schedule, and so it was. I felt like I was fighting to get back. I felt
Mm.
that there was this resistance.
You said you felt like you're fine to get there.
Yeah, literally.
Mm. Mm.
Because so many, it was like I could just feel the energy. Just like, most people probably would have given up. To be honest, it was exhausting. I mean, I'm already coming out of all that situation I just shared. I don't have
Yes.
the energy to like. I barely have the energy to like fill out the application. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and it's just like really like now I gotta go do this. Now I gotta do all these little pieces. And it's just like, oh my God, just give me the strength to get through and like do what I need to do. I know I need to be there. So I feel like it was challenging. But challenge isn't gonna stop an
Challenge makes an Aries go, oh, really? That's where you start to feel everything. You start to get those goosebumps. Like, you start to hear clearly. Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I was like, we still make this happen. Like, listen, no matter what's coming our way, we're still
Mhm.
getting there. Like, it's just a
Yes.
matter of when. Maybe not on my see, and that's the other thing. I had to surrender during that because I had my
Mm.
whole plan and my dates that I thought I was supposed to be there. The spirit had a little bit, different plans. I was like, okay, I'm gonna surrender whenever you need me to be there. I'm gonna be there, or it will align. It will open up and flow.
Right.
Um, the airport though, that Lagos airport is uh an interesting experience. I've been through a lot of airports, and that one, you
What's
know,
next level, huh?
that's a good way for the next level. Just if you have if you know someone that can help you navigate it, that would be the most ideal and best thing for
So
sure.
you didn't have anybody meeting you over there?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I actually had some
Woo!
friends that have a restaurant in San Diego.
Okay.
They actually
Oh,
they know someone that works there, and so in the airport, and he was the biggest lifesaver for me, and just helped me navigate and get through. And then I met up with the people I was supposed to meet, so that worked out very well. And then when I got there, honestly, like I'm really still processing. I'm just beginning to be able to process.
that was what about what 3 months
This
ago?
was in mid-January. I arrived,
Okay.
and I was there to the first week of March.
Okay.
Pretty long,
Wow, you
pretty
were
long.
there from January to March.
Uh-huh. Well, my trip got extended because a week and a
You were
half.
having so much fun. You were like, I'm not ready to go back home.
Well, I wouldn't say all that. What had happened was I was supposed to depart. I had just finished my Oshun initiation. we take a trip to Osun State, into the Oshogbo, the river, and I got food poisoning that day. And then I was supposed to fly out I finished Wednesday. I'm supposed to fly out on Saturday. I'm like really not feeling well. I found an acupuncturist over there, and he's like, I think you have malaria. Like, you should go to the hospital. I'm like, okay, you would know better than me. I was resistant because I'm more of a natural medicine type of healer. Like, just give me the herbs. Like, but I was like, you know what? This is a whole different country. Y'all deal with this. So let me not even play with my life right now. you know? So I go, they ended up admitting me, and they tested me and confirmed that I had food poisoning and malaria. And so I stayed like overnight, and the doctor was like, well, you need to like stay and heal and come back later in the week so I can clear you for travel. So I'm just like, at this point, I had been ready to go. I'm just like, I want to go home. I miss my bed. Like, you know? And so that's why I ended up staying longer than originally planned. But yeah, that was that's that
That
part.
would have been an accident.
It wasn't.
Yep.
But then let's see, you asked about the initiation. So
Yeah,
the
what was the
Ifa one.
process like for you before and during? What are some of the things that you can share that came up for you that were mind shifting to help you see things, if there were things like that?
Well, with the Ifa initiation, this is when you're receiving your destiny. And that was so important for me because I thought had been figuring out like my soul purpose. I was getting clearer and clearer. Like, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm supposed to work with women, like this womb healing stuff. I'm feeling called, which makes sense because Oshun is, about the womb as well. And so that actually, before I was already in, really she was with me before I had been connecting with her and long before the initiation. But it's like, okay, so cool. Like I was getting into alignment up into that, that point, which is good to know. At least I was, going in the right direction.
Right.
That's nice. And so I would say just really knowing what I'm supposed to focus on in the world, because I am a very creative person. I am gifted. There's so many things I want to study and still do. And that helped me to be like, bring it in and laser focus. So it's like, now, okay, you need to do these, things. This is going to serve your highest destiny. This is how you're going to be fulfilled. This is where, you'll be successful. And so, you're taken through different rituals and ceremonies, and there's like a cleansing and releasing that happens, and the surrendering piece of essentially releasing, shedding, like, your old self. I want to share this quick little, not little, because it was actually really powerful. I had a dream and like vision. I think it was in December. And basically what I was being shown was like, I was standing, someone was like on the other side handing me almost like a diploma, like rolled up type of thing. And they're like, yeah, okay, you got your doctorate, like you did the human experience. Okay, now here's your real mission. Here's like your real purpose. And I saw that, and I'm getting chills thinking about it because that was so deep to me. I was like, okay, well, so what? Everything I thought I was doing, okay, so I'm starting over in a sense, It's like, oh, like, all right, great. Now here you go. Here's the real work. Now, you know what I mean?
So, now you're ready.
Basically, that's a good way to. Yes. And so that the Ifa initiation was giving me the directions on that. Like, okay, this is how you're going to do it, essentially. And so it was deep. it was deep. It was very deep.
So the Ifa initiation happened first.
Yes.
And then you did the Osho initiation.
Yes, I had about a week in between before I did the Osho initiation.
So how did the Ifa initiation prepare you for the Osho initiation or not? Or was it a total different experience?
Total different experience.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, some people they only do Ifa. Some people only do Orisha. Some people do both, Um, the Oshun one was longer. Oh God. I remember at one point thinking like, okay, it's like it seemed like time was going so slow. It's like,
Mhm.
okay.
Even for a turtle.
Yeah, believe it or not. I was like, okay, this is the longest week.
Mhm.
But that was powerful. That was really beautiful to be supported and nurtured, like be tended to by all these women of different ages. And oh my God, I remember when it was finished, I was like, I wish especially African American, or even in the diaspora that has never experienced anything like that. I'm like, I wish that we could recreate the. I mean, I guess it would be you just getting initiated, but maybe there's a version that can be created where you can
Mhm.
feel that, like all just it was. I can't even articulate it, but it was so beautiful. It touched my soul so deeply, and as women, or yeah, it's just like society perpetuates like, oh, women against each other, competition, cattiness, all that. But it's like, man, it's so powerful when we come together. And it's like, we know this, we hear this, but for me to like experience it in that way, on that level, I had never experienced anything like that in my life.
So were
And
you mostly indoors, or were you in a village close to the river? Did you spend a lot of time in the river? Was there a time where you actually slept overnight near a river, or those experiences that, even though I think intellectually you knew was going to happen, but
I
like
didn't
you
know
said,
you don't know what's going to happen in initiation. It's a big mystery. You know when
mhm.
it's happening.
Right, right. You're like, this is it. This is initiation.
Yep,
Yes.
it has
Mhm,
begun. Oh, this is what we're doing. Okay, this is what I'm doing.
mhm.
Okay.
Were
Saying
there
yes.
moments where you find yourself just confronted by who you were and what was happening in that moment? How did you navigate that, if there were
Um,
times like that?
hmm.
Yeah, the part that you can talk about.
I know. That's why I'm like, I'm having to take a moment.
Yes.
I feel like for me, not in the actual initiation part, because you're so in the present moment, like, you're being you're being required to do certain things, and so it's like I feel like I didn't even have that time. But there's a saying in Ifa that it's like, once you've been initiated, it's time to initiate yourself.
Mm,
So that's when I feel like that is when you start confronting yourself. The things start surfacing. Um, you know, the people. And this has already started to happen. The people start leaving that aren't supposed to be there anymore.
mm,
From your life, they just
yeah,
seem to fall away. The right people start coming to support and
yes.
to be in your life. The opportunities. Same thing. Things that are meant for you are supposed to. They're gonna come, and things aren't. They're gonna go. And so I'm in that process now. And I like I said, I'm barely I'm barely starting to like to process it and integrate. Right now,
Yeah.
it's the integration phase, um, and that's like really common in that first year. All the stuff comes up to be healed.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
you've been through initiation after initiation.
Can I
Murder,
say
just it's like back to back. Initiation is
exactly?
not just being with a shaman. Things that happen in our day-to-day activities. Sometimes you can get initiated at work. Something
Listen,
happens that just goes so deep. It's all an initiation.
and I'm
And
getting chills on that. Absolutely. And that is literally, so I used to have locks and I
mm,
got them because I was committing to my spiritual journey and that process at the time. And I had them for about 4 years. Get this message, spirit's like, it's time to cut. You need to release them. You need to release your ego. I'm like, oh shoot, okay. I didn't even realize. All right, I did
right.
it. So that I feel like was an initiation there. um, and then, like you said, my sister, and during that year, I was working with elder women, and I was getting readings and things, and they told me like I was going through initiation then. So it's like I have, like you said, I have been
Yeah.
going through stuff,
Yeah.
getting prepared and prepared and prepared. You know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And your spirit, your soul, your body needs time to adjust. Like
Yes.
it's like you're becoming anew. The rebirthing is still happening. And it's
Exactly.
not even though you said you've learned to slow down. That's necessary.
Absolutely.
Trying to move fast could work against you. You
Absolutely.
know, I mean, grieving process doesn't happen. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever gone through the grieving process in a year. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's and not just your sister, but things that has happened. The grieving that comes with during the pandemic, which we're still sort of
Mm-hmm.
in. You know, the grieving the old you and
Yeah.
becoming new.
Yeah.
You went to Nigeria as Danesha Ayofemi
Uh-huh.
Anderson.
You're right,
And
right.
Danesha Osunkemi Anderson. It's like,
Yes.
uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
speaking of names, because I want to ask you, I don't know if you said it, I may have missed it, the meaning of what you came into you. But before you
Yeah.
do that, I want, or maybe you can do both. I want you to speak to with your names. You actually put the accents on the names,
You
on
said
the letters. You put the like
yes.
your so like the oh you got the oh because
Yeah.
those of us that grew up in Nigeria we don't do all that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a way that we sort of take it for granted, as well
Mm.
as like my experience. You know, my
Mm-hmm.
experience of my exposure to Ifa was mostly it was negative. It was
Mm-hmm.
something that I stayed away from.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until I lived in America that I started to look into it. And
Mm.
there's still a moment I feel my body responds if someone like Ebo. When people talk about Ebo, even though I have a better understanding of Ebo, Ebo is a sacrifice. It's not people, for those who don't know, but it's all kind of stuff that you put in there. When we were growing up, what we were told about it is if someone is sick and they make an Ebo for them, which is EBO, anybody wants to Google that, like the first person that sees the airport in the morning will take on the illness or the disease. So for us, it was something we would like. When we see it, we're trying to run away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I hear Ebo, we're making there's a sort of reaction in me because of what I learned as a child, and from my experience, I feel like African Americans, particularly for me, are helping me see my culture in a new way. I didn't want nothing to
Mm.
do with it. I didn't want to talk about it. It was evil.
Mm-hmm.
It's when I
Right.
went to bed that I got the awakening, if you will. Like, wait a minute, there's something about my culture and tradition here. So,
Mm.
and that's just recently, maybe in the last 3 months, that I started to say my name Ade instead of Ade because I've been
Uh-huh.
saying Ade, Ade.
Right.
But you know, as I go through my process with my ancestors, like it's time to start saying your name correctly, and I think it's
Yeah.
got in my body now. So I say
Yeah.
Ade. Every now and then it still feels strange because for over 20, 30, maybe 25 years, I've been saying, maybe 30 years, I've been saying Ade, Ade. But that's not the right pronunciation. So anyway, all that to say is I noticed with your names, you put the accents on top of it, and I mean, you really go to the. It's almost like the equivalent of Shakespeare to English. It's called we say Ijile Yoba, which is the origin of it.
Ah.
So I'm curious to know one, what does Oshunkemi mean to you, and
Yeah.
why you choose to put the accents and just the way it was written back in the day when Yoruba was Yoruba before it got contaminated.
um. So I feel like my name really just solidifies right now the journey I've already been on. You
Hmm.
know. Um. I mean, this means it translates as ocean cares for me. Um. And so I felt that.
And Oshun is an Orisha. For those who don't
Yes.
know, Oshun is an
Yes.
Orisha. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Thank you. Um, and it's interesting because when I first found out that Oshun was guiding me earlier in my journey, I literally had these flashes across my life, and I was like, "Oh my God, oh, you have been there,
Mm,
like since I can remember." Like I remember my first trip. I went to this river up in Northern California. I went to my first reggae festival ever, out deep in nature. There's a river, and I was so and I didn't know
mm,
why I was so happy. I have this
mm,
picture. I'm like jumping up. It's like one of my favorite pictures. And I didn't know about it, but I literally had yellow, and I had yellow and orange. Some traditions associate yellow and orange with Oshun, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting chills right now. I'm like, that's Oshun. I was home at the river, and growing up, they called me Giggles. Like I was always I still always laugh, and and then she was known for her laughter, the joy, and so it's like these threads that we were talking about, these little nuggets, were all throughout my life, and it's like boom, 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 like of course, like that makes so much sense. So to me, it's like this combination and almost like self actualization into that, and just like okay, like I feel like I'm grown now. Like I feel like I'm me. Like I know. I mean, I still have a lot to learn, but I feel like I know me to a certain degree where I feel like solid, and that feels good because it took me so many years to get here, and a lot of trial and error, and going through unhealthy relationships, and just so much, and it's like okay, we're on this
So if
path.
I brought you home, if I called you home and
Yeah.
brought you home,
Mm-hmm.
and one of our listeners, Orisha Bukola, she had said this earlier, way earlier in the show. She said, ancestors always lead us home,
Yes,
which is
yes,
true, which is true.
absolutely. They
So
pulled me.
you, Osha's always been with you. She's always nudged you in the right direction. And it's when you got to Nigeria that you realize everything, more of the puzzle just fit in place,
Yes.
and the clarity. And like you said, you feel solid.
Yeah,
And it's about really listening to that inner guidance.
that's right.
Um, for those who may be listening saying, Ifa, I've never heard of that, or I've heard of Ifa, but I don't know if I want to go to Nigeria, or I don't know. What would you say to anybody who's thinking, contemplating, maybe feel somehow they feel a resonance to what you're saying? What would you
Mm-hmm.
say to them, and maybe in a form of inspiration, not necessarily inspiration for them to do it, but
Mm-hmm.
just what would you share with them, just to give them an idea of what is possible?
Hmm. I feel just having this deeper connection to nature and
Mm,
to yourself is like the most beautiful thing. And that's really what I've been able to experience. And really clarity, just the clarity has been so amazing. Um, I know there's, a lot of people out there, and even myself, at certain times, just like wondering, like, what's my purpose? Like, what am I supposed to do here? And I feel like I'm so clear, and it's nice not to have that have that running tape in my back. Like that's so much energy,
yes.
you know, and it
Mm,
can be confusing, and you can feel like you're just floating and just, in the world, and to have that direction, just it feels so good. Like
clarity,
yeah,
direction. Yes.
yeah,
I feel you.
yeah, yeah. I love that.
Well, thank you for sharing your
Yeah.
story and for your patience.
Oh, no
Because for
problem.
whatever reason, we needed to start this show an hour later, which, just the behind the scene experience was interesting. And even behind the scenes for me internally, and just noticing how I was with it, it's like, okay, because there were times where I've been like, why? And just really being, and I think that's really the point of just being, going through the challenges of life,
Yeah.
but also giving ourselves the permission to cultivate a sense of stillness so that when what's going on in the world is happening, we can still stay anchored to our ancestors. We can stay
Sure.
connected to what is true. Because for me, I think that's the point of it all. That's
Mhm.
the point of it all.
Mhm.
I want to share
Absolutely.
something that I think you will appreciate. So I was watching a video today, and as I've been doing this ancestral work, I'm of course reading and learning about other people, and also looking for ways to share the downloads that I get, the wisdom that I'm connected with, in the way that people can digest it. And there's a little bit more I can say to it, but I just give the analogy. So I heard someone say today, he said, when you think of the ancestors, so think of it this way. You think of a computer, like well, I'm going to add a little bit to it, but you have a computer. This is my part. Computers are pretty powerful. You can do a lot with a computer.
Mhm.
You can write a book. You can create whatever. You can write music. You can write a story. You can do whatever you want. Now, that's a computer that's not connected to the internet, but doing everything you do with the computer, and now you decide to plug it to the internet, you're connected to so many other people. And he said the ancestors, he sees them as the divine internet.
Mm.
And it was just such a like simple, profound analogy. Like, why is it important to connect with your ancestors? Because now you're connecting to deeper wisdom. You're connecting to experience and energy that's beyond yourself. Like what my computer by itself can't do, it can do with another. Because I can want a definition to a word. I could be writing a book and need a definition to a word. I'm like, what is it? Oh, I don't have a dictionary in the house. Oh, I can't go online. I guess I have to find out. But the minute I plug online, I can go to dictionary.com and get the meaning. And I just thought it was such a powerful way and a simple way to show people why it's important to connect with your ancestors, because they live in us and we live in them. We're always representing them whether we know it or not. And when we connect to them, we can represent them in a new way. And I'm grateful to have connected with you, and got to know you in the last few months through the grief ritual that I hosted as well, which was funny. I didn't know it was you. I
I
didn't
know.
realize it was you until later because you had the name of your business, and I'm like, who is that person? I don't remember seeing that name registered. But okay, I'm going to trust the process. Two and a half hours later, I said, "Oh, it just came to me."
Yes. That's funny.
It truly was, truly was. What do you want to share with our listeners before we release this conversation?
Hmm. I would say the biggest thing is just trust yourself. Don't doubt. I know I mean I've done that too, but it's just like when you hear it, like just just do it, move with it. One of my mentors, Queen, has an amazing place called the Earth Lodge Center for Transformation, and she's been such a powerful support. And it's like she really helped me on my path, on my journey to trust myself, trust my womb, trust what I'm feeling, trust what I'm seeing, to really develop those spiritual, psychic gifts. And I'm so grateful for that, to have that. She's literally probably one of the I don't say only, but one of the very, very few people that really helped me hone all of that. So yeah, just whatever comes to you first, like that came to you for a reason, you know? And I know for me and probably a lot of other women, when it comes to our intuition, we tend to kind of ignore it, or like we'll make excuses or downplay it. And we got to stop doing that. So I just
Yes,
empower and encourage men and women to do it, because men have intuition too, as well.
yes,
And it's interesting
yes.
that society doesn't really, they kind of don't even really talk about it or encourage it.
Yeah.
But, we all have it. The
You
spiritual
hear
being.
a woman's intuition just like that, but very
Right.
rarely you hear man's intuition.
Right.
Men's intuition is because we looked at it as like, oh, something women do. But those who
Yeah.
know.
Yes,
I
right.
know
There we
that
go.
when I listen, and
Yes.
I listen to my intuition.
I know, yes. Yes.
And speaking of which,
Uh-huh.
I heard something,
Yeah.
and I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah.
With all this Roe v. Wade and, men thinking they have ownership to women's body
Mhm.
and have to be in women's business and talk around abortion and everything, it might be a good idea. I don't think it would be a bad one either. It'd be a good idea to do something around womb healing
Mhm.
around this topic, and maybe a Facebook Live, maybe an IG Live. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay.
just
Thank
saying.
you.
People
Thank
are
you.
craving for information.
Yeah, that's
So
true. Thank you
if
for
it's
that.
if it's yours to do, you will know when to do it, and you'll be know to do what you need to do. But I heard
That's
it.
it.
I'm sharing it. I'm only responsible to what I hear and what I do with it. And I did get guidance to say it out loud. Otherwise, I
Okay.
wouldn't.
Well,
Yes.
Ashe, thank you for that. Thank you, ancestors.
Yes, indeed. What's the best way for people to reach you? Is it through your website?
My website, yeah.
Okay.
Empoweredintegrativemedicine.com. And you can
Exactly.
shoot me an email on there. And if
Yeah.
you do, mentioned this podcast as well. So yes, I
Yes.
would love that to connect whoever feels, like they would like to do
Mm.
that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, my sister. I
Thank
appreciate you.
you. I
Thank you
appreciate you
for
too.
carrying the medicine with a smile and at a very
Mm.
slow pace.
Yeah.
And even when it's challenging, you say, okay, I surrender because the
Yeah.
medicine, you can't rush the medicine.
That
You can't
part.
rush the medicine.
That's
You can't
right.
rush the medicine
Absolutely
because
not.
the medicine needs to work on you before you can
Mm-hmm.
spread the medicine. So, yes,
Yeah.
grateful for the work you're doing, my dear sister.
Oh, Shay, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor. And you
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing. You are changing the world and really transforming people. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
this
Thank you.
space. That's
Thank
it.
you. I appreciate you.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Osunkemi Anderson. And see you another time.
Okay. And we might need to do a part two.
Yes,
So you
I,
get more
I already have
questions.
thoughts in my head. I was
Okay.
like,
Let's do it.
I didn't even think we were going to go another hour and a half. And here we are. We end up doing an hour and a half. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, here we have it.
Quali said, beautiful conversation. Thank you both.
Oh, you're
Yes,
so
yes,
welcome.
yes.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up and joining us. We
Indeed,
appreciate all of you.
indeed.
Yeah.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Life is good. It's getting better. Who's worried about time when you can create your own time? Now, for those of you who may watch this later, think, oh, it's got a new time. No, I don't. Not to my knowledge. I haven't been told I have a new time. Today just happened the way it did. And even on IG, there's all kind of stuff that was happening that I didn't even bother talking about. But I feel like it's just the energy. It's just what is happening. Trust the process, trust life, and want to invite you, if you feel like you had an aha moment and you're ready to move from just the aha, because you can have the aha moment if you don't embody it, integrate it, you forget. The chances are you forget. You have to put it in action. Check out my website, sign up, sign my mailing list, and let's work together. It is lifecoachade.com, lifecoachade.com, and you can also check out my dear sister's website, integrative, empoweredintegrativemedicine.com. And if you want to contribute a donation to the show, to this experience, I am going to post my thingy up here now. That's for PayPal is Ade Anifowoshe. Venmo is the same thing, Ade Anifowoshe, and Cash App is # Life Coach Ade. So thank you, beautiful people. Thank you for being here. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for riding with us. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you, and I thank God for you. Just a couple more things. My grief ritual this Saturday, July 23rd. Sign up bit.ly/lifecom. No, bit.ly/ancestral healing, the number one, this Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Sign up, join the conversation. Let's grow together. Let's heal together. And tomorrow, Wednesday, join me, Ricky Byers and I, for Soul Fulfilling. That's 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and 2 a.m. UK time. If you're inspired to start your own website or your not website, podcast, or have a podcast looking for a website host, you can go to libsyn.com, libsyn.com. Check them out. If you decide to sign up, make sure you use my promo code ADE. I did. That will get you a very fat discount. If you sign up now, you get the rest of the month free and the next month, which is August. If you wait till the 2nd of August to sign up, you will get the whole of August free and the whole of September. Check it out, see if it works for you. And if it's not for you, share with somebody else who can use it. What else do I want to tell you? Ernestine said, I am learning to look into what? Into your intuition? Well, send me a private message so I know what it is because we're getting ready to release this conversation. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I thank God for you. And I'll be back next week with Ade Presents Being You. And whatever you do, as always, be you and multiply this consciousness.
Be who you are.